So when you're dealing with the usurping of authority over the man, it is not just that a woman is intentionally doing it. A lot of times they're not even aware, right? And creating intimate relationships for a person who has been in this state of numbness, sometimes it can be very difficult. It feels like you're doing something that you have no idea what it is. To be patient with a man, to speak to a man politely, to have a decent approach when communicating with him, to not talk down on him, to not thinking that he's nothing. All of it's hard because you're accustomed to having your way, and that gives you that sense of self, that men are nothing. And because of that negative thinking, guess what? Everything turns out to be like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So you already have this fixed concept. You have a fixed concept that, guess what? This man is nothing. Nothing's going to come out of this relationship. So guess what? You are naturally going to produce those types of energy to manifest exactly what you have been thinking. Your thinking and how you're behaving, they go hand in hand. So you already know the outcome of an experience before it even happens. This is why when a lot of people get a good person in their life, good man or good woman, guess what? They already destroyed it because of the preconceived thought about how the relationship will turn out. It is not always because of something the other person is doing, but it's a reflection of our own thinking. I was with a person before that was, this was beyond broken, this was damaged, right? And this is something that men need to know about women. You have some women that will like kinky stuff, smack, spanking, even choking, right? That's one thing. But there's different when there's somebody who wants you to put your hand on her. That's a whole different thing. That's nothing kinky there. You know what that is? That is because she was in a relationship years before me, right? That she was accustomed to being abused. So she always looked forward to it. But because I was not doing that to her, right? She started doing things for me to do that. And if I was not aware of these things, guess what? I would have given her exactly what she was looking forward to. And then that's what I was talking about when I said self-fulfilling prophecy. Because she sees you, she already tell herself that you are going to do what her ex partner did, right? So in order for that to be fulfilled, she has to do what? Provoke you to anger. But what happens when they go face to face with a righteous man? There is nothing they can accuse you of. And this is where gossiping comes in. They go and spread rumor, not to people who will look into things and discern, but they will go to the opposite gender to spread lies and do it in such a way where those men will believe. They cannot tell that to certain women. They cannot tell that to a married woman who is about marriage or stuff like that. They have to go to other men to deceive them, to lure them in. That was exactly what she did to make her story seems believable. She had to say a bunch of stuff about me that people know that that's not me. When she had such chance to say that to her sister, our mother, she could not utter the first word because these were all stories. Gossiping, that's what it is, gossiping. And it's funny because this type of individual, there's no one on earth that loves the Lord like that person. And if you want to see that person in rage, bring this book out when you are talking to her. That's the time you see a side of her that I don't know what to say. Just by doing what? Bringing the scriptures out. She moved from that anger into that rage, uncontrollable rage. But yet, she loves the Most High. So we have to understand that we're dealing with all these spirits out there. We're dealing with all these different entities, these different layers of darkness. Right? And what it really takes to face it is actual awareness. Right? Because let's go back to Eve and the Messiah. Because it's one thing to go with somebody with the word, go to somebody with the word, and to go with actual action or inaction. For example, Eve knew the judgment of the Most High, but yet she still fell to temptation. Right? We saw that because she was telling the serpent, no, I should not do this or else this will happen. Right? So she knew the knowledge of the Most High. The Messiah, the adversary came to the Messiah, went to the Messiah and was doing the same thing. Right? The Messiah quoted scriptures, but also he had the ability to control the urge. And there's a different thing. You can quote scripture to say this and to say that, but how many of us use the scripture, thou shalt not commit adultery, but yet today, after 5-10 years in this truth, after 5-10 years of being a Christian, after 5-10 years of being a Muslim, are still today committing that same adultery? It is not that we don't know what the word said. The problem is we don't know how to control our urges for temptation. So it's important for us to come back to this knowledge and do what? We need to shine light on the things that we are doing wrong. But then in the days we would see certain things in relationships, whether friends, whether other people in the neighborhood or so forth. But we did not really take it to that consciousness to be aware to say this and that and how it can be fixed. We just said as, oh, that's happening with those people. But then today, a lot of us are experiencing the same things that we saw was happening back then. But we saw it as normal because that's the culture we grew up in. Know that we are aware that no, these behaviors in relationships, they're not acceptable. Know that we're aware we can do what? We can change it. A lot of people are stuck in this freeze, this numbness state of mind. You don't know when to run, you don't know when to fight, so you're just frozen. That's the state that we are in, and this is why we do things automatic. So back here I said about usurping authority over the man. It's not that this woman comes intentionally to do that, but it is so because she's what? She's in that freeze state of mind, numb.